Okay. Yeah, just start. Good afternoon. Welcome you all in technical session 2, plant protection research and technologies for organic farming. On behalf of organizers and on my own behalf, I welcome you all to this important session. Professor R.K. Mittal, Vice Chancellor of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, University of Agriculture and Technology, will chair this session. And Dr. B.S. Negi Sahab, advisor, organic from APIDA, India. He will be the co-chairman of this session. There will be 3 presentations in this session. First will be by Dr. Professor Ulrich Ismach from United Kingdom. He will be presenting on phasing out contentious inputs from agriculture in Europe and beyond. Examples from 4 years research project Organic Plus. Next presentation will be by Mrs. Yam Suganthi from India. She will be presenting on science and technologies for non-chemical management of insect diseases and nematodes. Last presentation will be by Dr. Mukesh Sehgal from India. He will be presenting on application of integrated pest management practices under organic farming. So on behalf of organizers and on my own behalf, I welcome you all to this session. Let me first introduce chairman of this session, Dr. R.K. Mittal Sahab. Dr. R.K. Mittal is the 6th Vice Chancellor of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel University of Agriculture and Technology, Modipuram, Meerut. Earlier, he was also the Vice Chancellor of Rajendra Agriculture University, Pusa, Bihar, from 2015 to 2017. He is a renowned researcher, educationist, manager, administrator. He has a vast experience of about 40 years in teaching, research, extension, and administration. He has served at various capacities in Indian Council of Agricultural Research, and with his efforts only, a lot of reforms have been made for quality agricultural education in national agriculture research systems in India. As a scientist of ICR, Dr. Mittal has contributed significantly in the development of 4 improved crop varieties of lentil and soybean, identification of many new diseases and pathogens, and their management. He has published several books, book chapters, technical bulletins, and several research papers in national and international journals. Dr. Mittal has several awards and recognitions to his credit. Some of them are National Education Award 2015, Professor H.K. Barua Memorial Lecture Award 2006, and so many awards. So on behalf of organizers, I welcome Dr. R.K. Mittal and request him to chair the session. Let me introduce the co-chairman of the session, Professor B.S. Negi, advisor, organic, agricultural and processed food product Export Development Authority, APDA, Government of India. Dr. B.S. Negi have more than 38 years experience in the field of agriculture, horticulture, food processing, cold chain development, medicinal and aromatic plants, tea development, and national resource management. He was instrumental in formulating guidelines of National Horticulture Mission launched by the Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India in 2005. And for the first time, the component of adoption of certification of organic farming was included for national support for the farmers under National Horticulture Mission. He has worked with various capacities in Uttarakhand government and for Government of India, and he has significantly contributed for the development of organic farming. He has lot of publications to his credit. He has also visited several countries with many national and international assignments. He is also impaneled as national consultant horticulture with Food and Agriculture Organization. And on behalf of organizers and on my own behalf, I welcome Dr. B.S. Negi Sahab to be the co-chairman of session. So now I hand over the mic to Dr. R.K. Mittal Sahab to start the proceeding. Chairman, Dr. R.K. Mittal Sahab.
Okay. Thank you very much for the kind words, Dr. Chandrabhanu. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Pamar, Director of Indian Institute of Farming System Research, and his colleagues for inviting me to join this International Science Conference on Organic Farming Research, Technologies and Extension, and particularly to chair this session on plant protection research and technologies for organic farming. So it's always a pleasure to be with scientific colleagues. And I know that the three speakers listed in this session are eminent speakers, and I know Dr. Mukesh Sehgal and partly Dr. Suganti also, but looking forward to hear all three of them. So I'll invite one by one. Before I move on, I would like to mention that this insect disease and weed management in organic farming is very important. And for this, I think this cultural host resistance, physical, biological, botanical, biorational methods, etc., are mainly employed for pest, disease, weed, and nutrient management. In general, we know that the incidence of pests and diseases are comparatively low under organic production systems. We have known it compared to the inorganic systems due to several factors. Organic management also increases the natural enemies in the farm. There are several reports also which inform that the natural enemies of crop pests and diseases such as coccinelles, spiders were higher under organic management compared to integrated and inorganic management. I know personally Dr. Mukesh Sehgal, and I'm sure that he will deliberate all these issues there in his presentation. So before proceeding ahead, because instead of telling myself about the situation, I look forward to hearing all the three eminent speakers. And for that, before moving ahead, I would ask my co-chairman if he wants to say something before I invite the first speaker. Dr. Negi, would you like to say something?
Sir, I think, should we introduce the speakers?
Yeah, we will do that, but and before that, would you like to say something? No?
Sir, actually, I would like to say that the this technical theme of the technical session is very pertinent, and as in the organic farming system, the reduction in the yield, this pest and disease is one of the main cause actually, and the reason for that because there is low awareness among the growers, and the also the quality of the whatever input is there, and that is also quality and the availability of the bio pesticides is also an issue, and also the development of disease resistant variety for in organic agriculture is one of the important issues. I wish that the all the speakers will definitely focus on these issues actually. That's all, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Negi. So let me first invite Professor Ulrich Schmitz from UK, and he will be discussing this phasing out contentious inputs from agriculture in Europe and beyond. Examples from the 4-year research project Organic Plus. So Dr. Schmitz, we look forward to hear you now. Please unmute your mic.
Yes. Can you see my presentation as well?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So yes, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm speaking here from the United Kingdom. It's quite early in the morning here, and the topic is phasing out contentious input from agriculture in Europe. I will talk about a fairly big European research project, Organic Plus, which has 25 different partners. So it's also a little bit about how research is conducted. It is funded by the European Union. You see the logo in the corner, but it is Europe-wide. So it includes also countries like Switzerland, Norway, Turkey, and the UK, which is now not part of the European Union, as you know. Yeah, and to my background, I have been within the organic farming movement for many years, 30 years, and started in Germany. I have a German and British passport, and actually I'm from the very south of Germany, from Switzerland almost. So you had two presentations earlier in this session from colleagues further north. So Switzerland is much more mountainous and has much smaller farms, maybe a little bit more like India in some level. Anyway, that's just for the introduction. So I'll go through that and show it to you. But the point with Organic Plus is also that we had organic farming. It became a legal standard in the European Union in 1991, so nearly 30 years ago, and we are now looking into developing Organic forward, making it even better than it is. So a quick history to this project. These projects are fairly big. You see a very big team here. So it's a coordinated effort, and that was last year. The project is only in halfway through, so we will not show all the results because we are just not having finished that. So this slide shows you again what I said a little bit earlier. It's very multidisciplinary. We have different universities and other research institutes, and it is spread all over Europe, which is, like the size is, if you include Russia, like India, but the population is only half of it. So it puts it in a nice context. I don't want to say too much more about this. So the project can be followed on its website, organicplus.net, and the overall aim of this project is to provide transdisciplinary decision support for the actors in the organic sector to basically get to the next level of the Europe's organic success story as it is. And just before we go to the next slide, it was Gerald Rahman already said this morning, the official target, and I have it in a slide later, now is 25% organic land use by 2030 in Europe. So it's getting much more mainstream. In this this project, we work on different work packages, and I will only draw on one which is related to this session on this work package on pesticides. But I just wanted to mention that there's other work as well in terms of antibiotics, and I work with another Indian colleague here who works on the livestock. And it's still, kind of maybe interesting that despite that we also have to, disintegrate ourselves in terms of expertise, plants and livestock. This project, and this part of organic farming, is still trying to keep it also all together because mixed farming and systems are important. And then I will also draw a little bit on the public view of mainly pesticides because we do some social science as well. So what are we doing? We're looking mainly on one contentious input, which has been a bone of contention in organic farming for 30 years. This is the use of copper. Copper pesticides, fungicides used in mainly organic potatoes. So there was quite a few research projects before, but this is one of the really unsolved problems that we still use in some areas. And the research was also to find out exactly where it's still used and how it can be phased out. So copper is one of the main contentious inputs for potato production in organic. Another contentious input in terms of organic greenhouse production, where also fungicides and copper are used in the EU in a very high content. So I'll just show you a little bit of an overview here that you see where the problems are. And then a third area is organic tree crops. So again, citrus, olives, and almonds and other crops within organic systems are frequently treated with copper, and for that again we want to find some alternatives so that this can be reduced. We also look at other inputs which have become more contentious. So the word is contentious input, so which is kind of not quite like we would want organic to be, and the other one of them is the use of mulches. We obviously use that in organic because we don't want to use herbicides, but now we have we removed herbicides, but now we have plastic, so we are looking in alternatives to have different soil covers to that as well. And we have another issue which maybe is not so much discussed in other countries, is the use of peat. So peat is a mined product which is mined in the UK and the north of Europe, in Finland, and this is seen very contentious because of its carbon footprint and its environmental negative credentials, and we think we can actually make organic completely peat-free with other materials, mainly wood-based ones, and that would also help us as well. And then we are looking into green manures, which can be, this is in greenhouses, which can become a fertilizer, which is not directly animal-based, because we have more and more people who are into that area of being vegan and not wanting animal manure. But this is more a sidestep of it. So I'm just showing that it can also be liquid fertilizer here. And this is just a little picture to see that that we have vegan farming, vegan organic farming is on the increase. Even during the kind of 2 or 3 years of that project, it has increased a lot. So we have this international board, and we have in India the colleague from Mahesh Chandler as well. But I just want to show that also we are working in Europe. We are not in isolation. The EU regulation has a big influence worldwide in terms of its standards. So I think it's important that we share in a way, and that's why I'm here as well, to see what other people think is contentious. And we have here I've invited some colleagues 2 years ago to talk about the international perspective on what is contentious, and I have quite a quick slide here in terms of what was said. And then in the US and Canada, they are quite ahead on some of the plastic alternatives, and also they are into antibiotics as well. And while in India and other countries, they often follow the EU regulations. So there are other things which are much more bigger as a problem. Maybe, I'm always thinking I'm concerned about peat, but maybe it's just a very small part of the. So we don't want to lose too much sight of that. Agribusiness was mentioned here, and in Korea, the colleague said they have too much nitrogen manure. And South Africa, in Africa, said that organic is still small. So I'm well aware that maybe what I mentioned here is maybe not everyone's immediate problem, but from this European perspective with our consumers, those things are seen as organic plus as the next step. So we do some natural science research, and I draw now on a paper published in Organic Agriculture quite recently, where we now map, first of all, the use of copper, mineral oils is another contentious part, and sulfur for plant protection. In this paper, we focus specifically on horticulture and across those countries. So the contentious inputs which are permitted are here, yeah. So we have, I mentioned that again, we have copper. So we see at the moment it is used as a fungicide up to 6 kilos of copper per hectare per year. And the EU has already in a recent regulation reduced that to 4 kilos of copper per hectare per year. And this is over the whole course of 7 years. So in total, it's 28 kilograms over 7 years. That means you can use a little bit more in 1 year and a little bit less in another year. But in total, it's like that. So we still have sulfur used as a fungicide, and we have mineral oils. Paraffin oil is at the moment allowed as insecticide, and acarinicide as well, and mineral oils as well. So I just show you from this paper. We are within Global Organic. We specifically looked at these main crops: olives, citrus, and vegetables. And Italy and Europe is quite high in that. As you can see, our partners in Italy, Spain, and Turkey and Greece are really among the main organic producers of olives. Tunisia is there as well. On citrus, it's the same. Italy, Spain is quite high here, just to put you that in context. And in vegetables, it's the US is on a total number higher. But then if you would combine the countries in Europe, Italy, France, you have here Spain, Germany, they're all partners in this Organic Plus project. In Poland, even the UK is mentioned here on that number. They come from the Organic World Statistics of Helga Willer. So that's good. So what we have seen here now, following those 3 crops, olive, citrus, and tomato, as a proxy for vegetables. So it is at the moment still used quite a lot in these countries. And on olives first, you can see that here. There's some variation, but it is definitely not quite below the 4 kilo. So there is quite a bit of extra work to be done. There is, however, a lower input in citrus, especially in Greece and in Spain. What we found, while it is still quite high in Italy and Turkey. And some of the bars, obviously, some people may use even more than 6 kilos, but that would be illegal, at least if it's done every year. As I said earlier, 1 year you can go a little bit higher. And so it's quite a big problem, as you can see here. So that's just to show you in a way the results overall, or to combine it with the other countries. There are quite a lot of regions where it is not such a problem, like in Norway or in Denmark. We have already no copper product approved, so Denmark is basically 0 copper. And in the UK is also already quite low. But that's also because we don't grow citrus and some of the other crops. And then we have a minimization strategy, mainly in Germany and other countries, where you kind of go further out from, and that's what we call phase out, to reduce it. Wine is still one of the bigger problems as well. And it's the same you can see at the very bottom here, wine use in France, especially in the Champagne region and some of the others. For the organic wine we produce, we have that problem. I'll show you some other results on peat in those countries, and it's still quite a big issue, and even in kind of garden centers for home production, where you actually really don't need peat in any form. But we have what I'm saying is a little bit of a scattered picture. So some big certification bodies like Demeter, the biodynamic organization, or Bioland, which is a fairly big, I think has most organic producer-based organization, 9,000 farms, to my knowledge, and Soil Association and another organization in the UK have phased it out. And we've seen that peat is still used quite a lot in Greece, in Italy, and Spain as a nursery stock for organic trees. So when you plant the little trees, that's still based in it. And plastic, we have also seen it's quite widely used in many areas, but I don't want to go into that detail now because it gets a bit away from it. But I'm just wanted to say that we are quite aware of it, and it's quite an important thing to work on. Then there is also conventional straw and fertilizer. So what will also happen fairly soon is that conventional straw is still allowed in livestock production and in horticulture. For example, we use it to cover some of the crops, and this is a very contentious thing because this straw from conventional farming has all the herbicides and pesticides still in it, and if you use it just to cover an organic crop, you actually incorporate those residues in the organic supply chain. And we have, and this is not part of this research, but our university has pollution dynamic labs, and our other people have that as well, and one can find those pesticides in organic which have legally come into the system by these pathways. It gets as bad as that. Sometimes the herbicides are still quite potent, and if you use organic manure from conventional farms in a very susceptible crop like growing small-scale tomatoes and other things, the herbicide is still there. So on top of it, that is a pollution of the product. It actually is that harmful for the product as well. So that's quite an issue. Horse manure is also an issue because it has GMO feed in it as well. So that kind of manure thing is also quite an issue. So what we are doing, and because we are not really we're just in that project, so we haven't really published, and that may disappoint you a little bit, all of the solutions, but this is where we are just now. So we are intensively researching these individual problems. So in greenhouses, how can we reduce or make copper not usable? And we do that with a colleague from the biggest area of organic greenhouses in Spain, and we use alternative products for that. And we are getting there, and I think the first results show that they have really good efficacy. They work quite well, but there are still some compromises to be made. Maybe a little bit of a lower yield and some other issues. And the same with olives. We can go there quite well. And there's one other presentation on the big issue with the potatoes. And there we think together with decision support systems, which is quite computerized. You can say big data thing where you can better predict the things. We can actually probably go further below the 4 kilos, going to, within the next 10 years, we can most likely be at 2 kilos of copper, and then obviously with the aim to phase it out completely. So that's that. And why I mention it is also important to see it together. Our institute is quite transdisciplinary with some social science work, and I just wanted to show you because the key point is obviously if we use pesticides which are not quite as efficient as the one we have at the moment, we will have some yield punishment, some little knock. We try to reduce that as much as possible. So we did make a specific survey regarding contentious inputs of everyone, well, kind of big representative sample, or let's say of everyone in Europe. In order to do that, you talk to 2,000 people in every country. This is online, and a total of more than 15,000 people. And I'm only showing you now the kind of things which are interesting for pest control. So we looked at everything in terms of the results, and just the three bigs. What are the big things consumers are concerned is reduce antibiotics, avoid. We asked other questions as well just to see where we are at. Avoid plastic packaging. That's a big thing as well. But number 3 is already avoid copper. So this shows you that this copper issue, at least for our consumers, is a big issue in terms of getting better pesticides, and also avoid mineral oils comes quite high up, and then other things, reduce transportation and organic food, seasonal, and so on. Vegan food, avoid pea. They're lower down, but to sum it up, there's 3 top types. Antibiotics, packaging, or the plastic packaging, not the plastic used in the production so far. Consumers are further away from it, but the copper as well. And obviously the interesting thing is, what do people want with copper or the remaining pesticides in organic farming? And you can see there are quite a few. The first top one is a little bit small. I explained it to you. You see 6 countries. You see the percentage of respondents, and the top one is ban, or second one is stricter regulation. And you can see most people, or a lot of people, also in Germany, in Spain, in Italy, we're quite surprised how similar it is in some way, want actually a ban or stricter regulations for that. So we definitely have the consumer here on our side, but that wasn't the only answer, because we also need to ask them in some way, are they willing to pay a little bit more for that? So, and that's the final question on this section. Would you like to pay more for a product which is, kind of organic plus in some way, being even cleaner than organic is at the moment? And the answer was, well, yes and no. So the first big column you see there is yes. The second one is no. But there's also a big one which kind of don't know. So that comes from consumer research. Again, interesting. People in Poland, in Italy, in Germany are quite prepared to pay more for that. They value food. It's not the same in the UK, according to our results, and also not so much in France. But it's still, it's still kind of interesting that at least a certain, or you could almost say a half of the consumers, roughly, would want to pay actually more for it, and they would want to carry that change in organic regulation. So why are we doing this? And I want to finish with that. So because I'm the kind of leader of this whole, so what we are doing is also to talk to the policymakers in Brussels. We have a partner project, so we're not the only one. There's 2 projects funded. We work very closely with them as well. You see the website here as well. Obviously I'm talking about our project, but I want to put them here as well. But we are the only one who do some of this social science research I showed you, and this other project also works in detail on alternatives to copper and mineral oil as well. And so how could that look like? And this is a very busy slide, but it kind of shows you that we have regulation, and eventually the EU regulation, and that's why I mentioned it as well, also will find its way into global regulation, we will phase out some of these things. And we obviously, I cannot make that decision, but this is a recommendation then that, for example, this non-organic manure and non-organic straw could be phased out fairly soon. We have phase outs for peat for 2030, so that could be done. We think we could, and we could phase out copper at the moment. Again, it's not normative. This is for a discussion. But in potatoes, it's easier, and that could be done by 2030. In tree crops, olives and citrus, it's more difficult, and we will think that could take 10 years longer. The same in potatoes. We think based on it, we can already phase out mineral oils because mainly there are plant-based oils which are really ready as an alternative. Their efficacy is slightly not as good as mineral oils, and we find that most people still use mineral oils or paraffin oil. Because I don't know, I would like to discuss that with you as well. Because obviously it is allowed, so why should you actually change it? But the plant-based oils are readily available, and that would maybe be an easy win to also tell our consumers that we are making progress in terms of phasing out certain things. I don't want to go into the other ones because this is more livestock related. And just want to say where we are. So in the European Union, we have this Green Deal. It is now an official policy target to have 25% certified organic land by 2030. And some countries in Europe are likely to be above 50%. Smaller mountainous countries, Switzerland, Liechtenstein is a very small country, a bit like Sikkim in India. They have tried to go ahead. Also in Austria, some countries. So we're seeing really things of scale, and also that changes the interest of big companies who now want to produce alternative products for organic, which we can use as copper alternatives. And going forward, in whatever 2041, the EU regulation on organic farming could become in one day the standard for all livestock stocking, at least, and that's not organic farming for everyone, but I can see, or this is a vision almost, I can see that especially the major problem we have in Europe is the intensive livestock farming in conventional farming. That is so bad, and the stocking densities already, which are defined in organic farming, and the connection between livestock and land would really help to do that. So, and then we do also policy recommendations in there in terms of talking to the EU Commission there, and we had this meeting before they decided to go for 25, and I really think that they obviously listen in a way and provide a realistic pathway. 25% is still a bit ambitious in my word. I was thinking 20% would be enough, but you need to be ambitious as well to make a real change. So I talked about the phase out of mineral oils, phase out of peat, so those things happen. But the other ones, which I think which were more on plant, especially sulfur as well, it's not so easy to find solution. I really want to see more also from India, from your research, how you deal with this problem in terms of sulfur and copper. And I think that's it for me, because I wanted to also have some time for discussion. Hold on.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Ulrich, for excellent presentation. Okay. I think you have very well justified this topic, which dealt with how to phase out copper, manure, peat, fossil-derived plastics, and conventional fertilizers for organic growing in Europe. I think you have a very wide experience. And that's the reason why I didn't introduce you in the beginning, because I wanted to listen your presentation first, and so that the audience have the impression that how well you are versed with the topic. Let me brief it now that Professor Ulrich Schmidt is an agriculture and horticultural economist, having a specialization in organic horticulture, agroecology, ecological economics as well. He has 30 years of experience in academic research, policy, and working within practical farms and food businesses. So he has a very wide experience, which he has already depicted during his presentation. He has long experience in modeling farm environment and ecological economics and analyzing large data sets. He has worked as professor for organic agriculture at the Free University of Bolzano, Italy, lecturing in a School of Economics and Management as well. His previous academic research and teaching was in tropical, tropical and subtropical horticulture at Humboldt University, which he has already referred also, with projects in Israel and Philippines. His other professional experiences are management consultant, organic farm inspector, and as a farm business consultant during the transition in East Germany and Eastern Europe. So he has a very wide experience, which he has amply justified through his presentation on Organic Plus. So nice to hear you. We will have the question answer session at the end. So we will take up the next presentation by Dr. M. Suganthi. So Dr. Suganthi is an entomologist with a specialization in integrated pest management, is presently working as Associate Professor Entomology in the Department of Sustainable Organic Agriculture, Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Coimbatore. She has a brilliant career as a teacher and handled several undergraduate and postgraduate courses since last 14 years. Dr. Suganthi has undergone 4 international and 12 national training programs, as well as she has operated 8 externally funded projects, both as principal investigator and co-principal investigators, with the outlay of about 12.65 crore. It's a huge amount. She has published 13 books, 70 research papers in reputed national and international journals. She has been awarded with the 25 awards, of which Normal E. Borlaug Fellowship by the United States Department of Agriculture, USA, Tamil Nadu Young Scientist Award by Government of Tamil Nadu, and Best Women Scientist Award by Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Coimbatore are some important ones. Her topic of presentation is Science and Technologies for Non-Chemical Management of Insect, Disease, and Nematodes. Dr. Suganthi, you are invited to present your presentation now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Whether my screen is visible?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Most respected chairman, co-chairman, conveners, rapporteurs, fellow scientists, then traders, and my dear organic farmers. Good afternoon, all present here. Today, I'm myself, Suganthi, Associate Professor, working in the Department of Sustainable Organic Agriculture, Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Coimbatore. Today, I'm going to present science and technologies for non-chemical management of insects, diseases, and nematodes. See, if you see the crop losses by pests and pathogens, this weeds contribute more, the maximum of 28%, followed by diseases and insects. Among the diseases, fungal diseases contribute 42% crop losses. Regarding the chemical usage pattern, insecticides occupy 55%. So India is the leading producer of pesticide, and out of the total production, 50% is being exported. In India, paddy and cotton are the 2 major crops which receive maximum quantity of pesticides, and the state Andhra Pradesh is the maximum consumer of pesticides. If you see the fact that in India, for every 30 minutes, a farmer commits suicide. What is the reason? It is mainly because of indiscriminate use of insecticides. So what is happening? Because of indiscriminate use of insecticides, the pests are causing, developing resistance and resurgence to the chemical pesticides. Then it leads to, crop loss, and the farmer is unable to repay his loan. That is the reason for every 30 minutes, a farmer commits suicide in India. So why we plan for shifting to organic farming? Because the inorganic pesticides, they pollute the environment, they destroy the natural enemies and honeybees and other non-target organisms. It causes resurgence of target pests, it causes outbreak of secondary pests. And because of pesticide contamination, that is because of residues of pesticides, it declines the quality of produce. And apart from all, it causes serious health problems in human beings. So what is the solution? The only solution is either shifting towards organic farming or going through eco-friendly. So regarding the components of organic pest management, there are several components. It includes cultural methods, mechanical methods, physical methods, use of host plant resistance as rightly pointed out by our co-chairman, then biological methods, botanicals, behavioral, legal, and use of green pesticides. So regarding cultural methods, summer ploughing, why we are going for summer ploughing? It not only to conserve the water, but also to kill the resting stages of pests that are present in the soil and exposing them to the hard summer. Then comes the cropping season. Right cropping season is very important because if we are not following the right cropping season, what will happen? The vulnerable stage of crop will coincide with the maximum pest outbreak stage. That is the reason we have to follow the proper cropping season. Then proper spacing is also very important because if the plants are planted very closely, it creates a microclimate in such a way that the pest outbreak will be more or the pest population outbreaks. Then comes the intercropping or trap cropping. These intercrops and trap crops are nothing but these are the crops that are most liked by the insects. So if we are planting these intercrops or trap crops in the ecosystem, in the main along with the main crops, the trap crops and intercrops will attract more number of insects towards it, and our main crop will be saved. And what is the purpose of going for border cropping? Border cropping or barrier cropping is nothing but growing this sorghum or maize or kambu, that all growing crops in the border will prevent the entry of some of the sucking pests which are acting as vector in the ecosystem. Then trash mulching. Trash mulching is also one of the important components. It is not only manages the weeds, but also the subterranean pests. Then seed rate plays important role, especially for the management of sorghum shoot flies, where we increase the seed rate and the infestation usually occurs in 1 month old crop. So during the time of thinning, we just remove the infested plants. Then comes the crop rotation. Why we have to go for crop rotation with non-host crops to break the cycle of insects. Then regarding the weed management, most of the weeds are acting as alternate hosts for the important insect pests of major crops. So weed management also plays important role in pest management. Then comes the water management. I'll come later. Then field sanitation. So these are all some of the examples that are being followed in India, where the intercrops are playing major role in pest management. Let us take one example. Sorghum plant, cowpea, when it is planted with sorghum as intercrop, it reduces the population of stem borer, that is Chilopartulus in sorghum. The others are some other examples. So this is the famous intercropping system being followed in India, that is cotton, sorghum, red gram sorghum at 6:1:2:1 ratio. So it prevents the maximum damage caused by this pest in the main crop, namely their cotton as well as in the red gram. This is also another important intercropping system where we have this cowpea as intercrop in sorghum, which reduces the population of stem borer. So the another important concept is use of trap crops in pest management. When we plant castor as a trap crop in cotton, groundnut, and tobacco, it reduces the population of tobacco caterpillar. Similarly, marigold is grown as trap crop in tomato, groundnut, and cotton for the management of American bollworm. Then mustard is grown as trap crop in cabbage, cauliflower, and radish for the management of diamond button. And in cotton, we have this onion as intercrop for the management of leaf. Regarding host plant nutrition, in general, if the level of N nutrition is high, then the plants will appear very greenish and it attracts maximum number of sucking pests as well as defoliators. So if we increase the level of potash as well as phosphorus, obviously the pest population comes down. The next one is the role of planting dates. I'll take one example. For example, this if we plant rice, if it is planted during third week of June, it suppresses the population of leaf folder. So wherever this leaf folder is a problem, we have to go for early planting, that is on the third week of June, to suppress this population. The remaining are some other examples given under that. Then regarding plant density, I have already discussed regarding this. Usually, high density planting leads to high incidence, mainly because under high density planting, the microclimate favors the outbreak of pests. So usually that is the situation. But for in the case of sugarcane, for the management of top shoot borer, we go for dense seed rate. And in the case of sorghum shoot fly also, in sorghum shoot fly management also, we go for higher seed rate and we thin the population at 1 month after planting. Then influence of alternate hosts. See, I already told you this, most of the weeds in the crop ecosystem, they serve as alternate hosts for most of the, dangerous pests in crops. So we should avoid these weeds in the ecosystem. Then comes the irrigation, that is water management, especially in rice where the mealybugs are major problem. If we continuously pond water for 5 centimeter depth continuously, then it reduces the population of mealybugs. Whereas for the management of caseworms and brown plant hopper infesting rice, we have to drain the water to field capacity to reduce the pest incidence. So wherever this brown plant hopper and caseworms are major problem, then we have to maintain the rice crop by draining the water to field capacity to reduce the incidence. And termites, as we all know, termites usually they love dry climate and red soil area. So if the soil is dry, then the infestation by termites will be maximum, especially in the fruit tree nursery. If we give copious irrigation, it automatically reduces the incidence of termites. Whereas in groundnut, this aphids, the population of aphids will be very high when we give more irrigation. So that is the reason we have to always maintain some ecological engineering. This is the picture shows the ecological engineering in rice, where we grow these plants around the ecosystem to attract the natural enemies as well as this non-target species, so that the pest population in the main crop will be totally reduced. So this is how we are in our organic field. We are always having this cowpea and lab as a border crops to conserve the population of natural enemies, to increase the activity of natural enemies. I'll show some other photos at the end. The next important component under this organic farming is the host plant resistance. This is considered as very important, as rightly pointed out by our co-chairman, because if we have the resistant varieties, okay, it will reduce the cost of plant protection. We need not go for any other protective measures. And the selection of varieties should be in such a way that the variety should show multiple resistance to several pests and diseases. The basic mechanisms of resistance are antibiosis, antizenasis, as well as the tolerance. And here I have shown you some of the important resistant varieties against major pests on major crops. I'll share the presentation to the organizers so that it will be used, it can be circulated among the farmers. The next method is the physical method, that is modification of physical factors in the environment to minimize the pest problem. So here we can use activated clay or vegetable oil at the rate of 1% for the management of pulse beetle. How this activated clay works? Activated clay, when the pulse beetle moves on the activated clay treated seeds, what will happen? It will abrade the cuticle of this insect and causes death of the insect. Whereas vegetable oil, if we treat the seeds with vegetable oil, it prevents egg laying by this Calosobruchus or pulse beetle. Then comes the solar treatment. Solar heat treatment of sorghum seeds for 60 seconds. It completely kills the rice weevil as well as red flower beetle without affecting the seed germination. And for the nematode management, we have one technique, that is hot water treatment at 52 to 54 degrees Celsius. If we treat the rice seeds for 15 minutes, it completely eliminates the white tip nematode. And drying of seeds below 10% moisture, it prevents most of the pathogens as well as the stored product. And cold storage and biogas fumigation are some other methods for the management of this post-harvest pests and diseases. Then comes the mechanical methods. Under mechanical methods, we have different ways. First one is mechanical destruction, that is collection and destruction of pest population, which are in huge quantity. that is hand picking of caterpillars and destruction, then using of flamethrowers, especially for the management of Moringa hairy caterpillar, as well as we are using it in the locust management also. And we are using some of the devices like iron hooks for the hooking out of rhinoceros beetle infestation in this coconut, and sieving, winnowing, and shaking of plants to dislodge the caseworm in the case of rice, as well as shaking of neem trees to dislodge the June beetles that are attracted to neem, or some of the mechanical destructive methods. And the other method under mechanical method is mechanical exclusion. It is nothing. The first example is wrapping of fruits or bagging we call. It is mainly followed for the management of pomegranate fruit borer and red earth coating. Red earth coating also, this also works as that of the activated clay. It abrades the cuticle of insects, and it is very effective ITK in the management of pulse beetle. And banding the mango trees with grease, it prevents the movement of mango mealybug. Then trenching is in between the fields is followed for the management of redari caterpillar, and we can use tin barriers around the coconut tree. This is one of the effective methods for the management of rats. Then comes the use of some appliances based on mechanical method. This includes light trap. All the phototrophic insects are attracted towards the light trap. So usually the light traps are run between 6:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. in the night, and then all the phototrophic insects in the field will be trapped and get killed. Then use of yellow sticky traps. It is highly recommended for the management of whiteflies, aphids, and jassids. But in Tamil Nadu, we are using this yellow sticky traps for the attraction of leaf miner adults also. Then comes the bait trap. Here we are using two different types of bait traps. The first one is fish meal trap. It is used for the management of sorghum shoot fly, and methyl trap is used for the management of fruit flies infesting fruit crops. Then comes the probe trap and automatic insect removal bin. These two are devices used for the management of stored product insects. These are developed by one of our senior professor, retired professor, Dr. Mohan. The next one is the behavioral method. Behavioral method is nothing but use of pheromones in pest management. There are 4 different kinds of pheromones, namely sex pheromone, aggregation pheromone, alarm pheromone, and trail pheromone. Among the 4, sex pheromone plays very important role in pest management commercially. Okay, so these pheromone traps are used based on the 3 principles of monitoring, mass trapping, and mating destruction. If the number is recommended number is 12 per hectare, then we can be used as a monitoring device. If we increase the number, then it can be used for mass trapping as well as for mating disruption. So these are all different kinds of pheromone traps being used in India for the attraction of these insects. This is one pheromone trap used for the management of red palm beetle infesting coconut, and this is the one used for the management of rhinoceros beetle. So here I have listed out what are all the different lures that are available commercially in India for the major pests of these crops. Okay. The next one is the biological control. So the basic principles of biological control is importation, conservation, and augmentation. So we can broadly classify these biocontrol agents into 2 categories, namely macrobials and microbials. Macrobials includes predators and parasitoids, whereas microbials includes nematodes and entomopathogens. Under parasitoids, the famous ones are Trichogramma, Chelonus blackcorni, Bracon brevicornis, goniosus, and Tetrastrachus. So here I have given some of the images of egg parasitoid, larval parasitoids also. So the regarding predators, the commercially available ones, especially in Tamil Nadu, most of the organic farmers are using the predators in pest management, especially this Chrysoperla carnea, that is green lacewing, and Australian ladybird beetle, that is called as Cryptolemus montroseri. And regarding microbials, we have insect pathogens and entomopathogenic nematodes. Under insect pathogens, we have viruses, bacteria, and fungi, as commercially these 3 are available for the organic form. Under viruses, these are highly specific to species. That is the reason I have given as NPV of Helicobacter, NPV of Spodoptera lidura. NPV is nothing but nuclear polyhedrosis virus. So these are highly specific to these 2 pests. Bacillus thuringiensis, actually it is a very good bacteria, effective against most of the defoliators and borers. Then comes the fungal pathogens, that is entomopathogenic fungi. The very good example is Beauveria bassiana. We commonly call it as white muscadine fungi, and the green muscadine fungi is scientifically known as Metarhizium anisophilae. But the problem with this fungi are this entomopathogenic fungi will work very well under high relative humidity. Only when the air relative humidity is high, this fungal pathogens work. If the air or relative humidity is dry, then it may not work well. The last one under biological control is the entomopathogenic nematodes. There are two important species, namely Steinernema and Heterodactylus. These are entomopathogenic nematodes effective against the subterranean insects, namely this white grubs. So these are all some of the parasitoids that are being commercially available and used in the organic farming system. So these are all some of the parasitoids effective against these pests, and standardized by the various institutes working on biological control in India. And this is the time of release. So these are all main commercially available predators and used in organic pest management. The one is the Chrysocolla carnea, that is green lacewing. Another one is known as Australian ladybird beetle, that is Cryptolemus montroseri. So regarding the commercial availability of entomopathogens in India, Beauveria bassiana, that is white muscadine fungi, it is most effective against some of the sucking pests as well as some of the borers also. And Metarhizium anisophilae, it is commonly known as green muscadine fungi. It is effective against white grubs as well as this fruit and shoot borer. This really, it is another entomopathogenic fungi. This is effective against Helicoverpa armigera and Spodoptera. Verticillium lecani, it is a very good fungal pathogen, that is entomopathogenic fungi, effective against most of the sucking pests, whereas this Hirsutella thomsoni is a fungi entomopathogenic. It is not entomopathogenic fungi, it is a fungi. It is effectively kills the mites. So here you can see the mites are completely covered by this Hirsutella thomsoni. The important bacterial pathogen is the Bacillus thuringiensis variety Kustraki. It is highly effective against bollworms, fruit borers, shoot borers, diamondback moth, and Helicoverpa armigera. Then comes the important one, plant origin pesticides. In more than 2,400 plant species have been screened, and about out of 2,400, 240 plants were found to be promising with insecticidal property, which includes anti-feeding property, sterilants. Some of the botanicals are used as sterilants. Then they are acting as feeding and oviposition deterrent. They affect the growth of the insects and acts as a growth regulator. And apart from that, it has ovicidal and insecticidal activity. So there are some plant origin compounds. So among the plant origin compounds, the very important plant origin compound is neem. So neem is not only effective against insects, but it is also effective against bacteria, the mites, mollusks, fungi, nematodes, and even it is used for the management of viral diseases also. So in the case of neem, though it has several biotic compounds, azadirachtin is considered to be an important one that is responsible for this pesticidal property. So regarding the pesticides out of neem oil is recommended at the rate of 3%, and neem seed kernel extract is recommended at the rate of 5%. And these are all some of the commercial formulations of neem available in the Indian market. And even some 2 years before, we have azadirachtin up to 50,000 ppm also. It is available in the name of neem azal F. So it is 50,000 ppm. It is highly effective, and it is comparatively more effective than chemical pesticides. So apart from that, we have certain ITKs, indigenous technical knowledge, which has been validated across the entire country by different institutes working on organic farming. The one important one is the 3G herbal insect repellent. It is made out of ginger, garlic, and green chili. So it was characterized biochemically, and the bioactive component present in this 3G extract was identified as tetradecane, which is responsible for antioxidant property of this 3G, and tetracosan is having antifungal property.
Dr. Suganti, please finish in 5 minutes.
No sound.
Dr. Suganti. Hello. 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 Dr. Suganthi.
Mr. Dr. Sugandhi is there? Sahil?
Sir, actually, there is a power cut down with Dr. Suganti madam. So just wait for 1 minute. She will start.
Okay.
There is problem of power supply.
Yeah, sometimes it happens.
Yes, sir. Chairman, sir, you can invite the next person.
Next person. Okay. So the next speaker is Dr. Mukesh Sehgal. Dr. Mukesh Sehgal is presently working as principal scientist at ICR, National Research Center for Integrated Pest Management, New Delhi. He is well-known IPM expert and had a brilliant record throughout his career. He entered in ICR with the ARS exam with the second rank at All India level and joined ARS service at ICR NCIPM New Delhi, where he is working since last 29 years. At present, he is rice team leader and he has developed IPM toolboxes for different rice culture systems. He developed success stories for IPM in rice for different states of India. He has contributed extensively in identification of hotspots of important plant parasitic nematodes of rice crop from different parts of the country. Dr. Sehgal has contributed extensively in identification of potential trichoderma strains possessing antibiotic genes, their formulations, compatibility distribution and the demonstration in farmers field, and also the identification of land races of rice root knot nematodes. Dr. Sehgal has contributed immensely in terms of publications and including MEA-sponsored international course on recent advances in IPM to the extension skills for 12 participants from 8 different countries. So now I invite Dr. Sehgal to make a presentation on the topic application of integrated pest management practices under organic farming. And Dr. Sehgal, I think you will try to restrict your presentation in 20-25 minutes maximum, because as a good friend, I don't want to restrict yourself to, say 15 minutes, but you can take, I think, 20 minutes or so. Thank you very much, Dr. Sehgal. Please make your presentation now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your nice words. Dr. Mittal is well known to us. Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, just hold on. Now, sir?
Yeah,
Yes, sir, visible.
It's okay now. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Thank you very much, sir, for nice words you have given to me. Yeah, making slide show. Something. Anyhow, I'll start. Esteemed Dr. Mittal and co-chairman, Dr. Pawar, director, Dr. Ravi Shankar, Dr. Chandrabhanu, and my dear fellow colleagues and participants. This is the application of integrated pest management practices we are doing organic farming. As in future, though from last 29 years, we are trying level best to have the IPM practices developed as Dr. Mittal told in many states I did. And I concentrated all the northeastern state except Manipur. And in all other places, Haryana, UP, Karnataka, Rajasthan, in different crops, I try to work with my friends. And here I give my regards to late Dr. Garg, where from I learnt a lot the IPM. And if I say why we go for IPM, this is simply to tell you the simple slides are there, all you know well. We have a food security targets are there. We have every year we have to increase 5 million tons. And why we are in a problem? Because of the intensive agriculture, we have the so intensive agriculture no doubt do the genetic uniformity of the crops, dense plant population, monocropping. People are using higher fertilization and irrigation, inappropriate system, immediate profit motives. All these had made a problem for plant protection specialists to develop a certain program which lead to there. So now, just like a pest, we define a pest in a very simple manner. Any organism that interferes with the crop production means that would be a pest. It may be anything. It can be insect, disease, nematode, weeds. So we include everything, try to include everything, even rodents and all these things. And according to latest Niti Aayog, if I tell you here, the monitoring loss is 130 crore rupees. And here, this is the latest data I'm talking about. The weeds cost highest losses 33%, rodents and other cost 15%, diseases cost the nematodes are also included in our rodents and others are included. I mean, minor pest, we can say disease is 26%, insect 26%, and a total monetary loss, as Dr. Chakravarti and myself, when he was a ADG in 2018-19, we tried to find out is 130 crore rupees loss we estimated like this we have. So then we have a now why we need every time everything cannot be a pest. Sometimes we find we say that the insect is there, but we say that there will be no, we don't do anything. We recommend, rather we recommend nowadays. Nowadays, as Dr. Mittal is aware, because he was our road, we can say, we have learnt a road map, but I'm going to show you under the guidance of Dr. Mittal, that the IRC chairman, the Dr. Mittal is aware that we are developing ICT, and in ICT means information communication technology. We are advising to the farmers, even sitting from here to Tripura, whole Tripura and rice, we are making their efforts. So that is a backbone, going to a backbone in organic farming. That sometime is by looking towards insect. So you teach them there is a pest, and they start spraying pesticide. But we tell them that a level or damage or a potential damage that is equal to the cost of management of the pest. That is the economic injury level. Till it not reach to that level, we don't go for we don't recommend any practices to the farmer. Just like, and sometime ETL, I saw just like you are sitting near we are done with Dr. Garg in the Uttar Pradesh, we are done, and the leaf folder. At that time, Dr. Garg told me that nothing to spray in leaf folder, and we are not sprayed anything in leaf folder, and fine. That was a very correct state that we could able to control without any any pesticide or any method. We have not done it, but we are able to see that leaf folder have not caused any percentage of damage, or it was below the required level to be there. So now, why pest management is to be dealt out? There are many things to be have there to minimize the crop losses, minimize the environmental pollution, maintaining the food quality and quantity of the food, that is important, decrease biohazards in the food chains, the ensuring the food security, and the most important is sustainability, the one of the most important factor we have here. So by looking towards all these, people are start doing the pest management. In India, Dr. Pradhan started in 1965. He said integrated control. But it was redefined, it was restructured, remapped, revamped by Dr. Puri, S.N. Puri, while he was a director of NCIPM. And on his recommendation, new things have come into the picture. That is the special emphasis on IPM was given as a National Agriculture Policy, 2001, Para 24, Government of India, say that integrated pest management is, and the use of biotic agent in order to minimize the indiscriminate use of and injudicious use of chemical pesticide will be the cardinal principle of covering plant protection. So this is actual required in our national agriculture policy. It was defined by, though if I tell you here, the IPM started in 1965. The parallel when Dr. Pradhan was doing a work, Carl Rachel published a book, Silent Spring. And in FAO defined the IPM is a pest management system that is in context of associated environment, and the population dynamics of the pest species utilizes all the means we are using all the techniques. But nowadays we are restructuring, reforming all these definition. They are here in IPM, we are using the plant protection strategies which are used for the in combination when and when required. But now we are talking from the nutrient management also. So that is means we are trying to come out with a organic farming towards that. So ICM is our basic concept we are try to utilize it, and our IPM is now based on ESA. We have ESA means we are making farmer a scientist. Means till or until farmer unable to identify the pest or the natural enemy, he could not take a good decision. So therefore, it is very important to have a gap, means good agriculture practices plus ESA based IPM is going to be success. And I request those are doing in or because we are doing very frankly speaking, I only did in organic farming IPM, and with Dr. Ravi Shankar is aware, he is with me in one of the team. In Sikkim, we had a program. We had when we have visited. So in Sikkim we are doing from last 5 6 years in large cardamom as well as in rice crop. So so therefore now keep in mind the organic farming. We also have to see that there must be ESA based type organic farming must be there, and the basic principle has to go to this. Yeah, I quickly go. I'll not go in much of detail because everything is well defined in the title itself. Prevention is the indirect measure. We take the healthy crop. Field sanitation is very important because the carryover pest stays. Rice and wheat, I find melodic and myself and Dr. Gore, H.S. Gore, I find out that the rice wheat system, we have a carryover pest, that is the melodic and triticorizi. Now we call it the melodic and gram nicola. They stay in wheats, which is in rice field, and they cause damage to the wheat fields also. So so this is very, say we have a field sanitation, wheat field surroundings, then we'll be able to make the good judgments. So deep suburb flowing and soil solution is our best uh, thing to be do in soil. If we possible, we can do in rice as well as in vegetables. The deep summer flowing now, but nowadays the farmers don't have much of time available. They grow crop after crop. So soil solution, raising nursery, not all crop, raising nursery make your soil biota free from the pest. So next pillar will be have a integrated nutrient management. So here I am trying my level best to have a organic manure like the FIM we are using, vermicompost, green manuring. Just like myself and Dr. Garg has started Dhencha in Session issue before our basmati rice, and we are able to see that we are able to cure, not only cure the you can say the soil biota, but also we are able to make the our soil healthy. So that is our very important. So if you propagate this technology in Sesbania's issue in our pre-crop to our 45 to 60 days pre-crop to basmati rice, your nitrogen fertilizer will be balanced, and because of nitrogen fertilizer, a lot of pests will be we can see that. So the crop of variety and seed treatment is very important. Nowadays we say that the crop variety means take the resistant variety and multiple resistant variety. We are stressing our you can say our breeders that to have a multiple resistant varieties. And the seed treatment, no doubt we are going for trichoderma. The pseudomonas is for seedling treatment, basides, trichodium, they are our. So use we recommend these soils. Yeah, this is the same I am talking about what we need in organic farming also, the IPM technology which we need to be curing there. So I'm just trying to find out the seed treatment. We are avoiding carbendazim because that is it is banned. Though no doubt is we are recommending to the farmer earlier, but nowadays we have to go to, and we are developing the cottage industries for trichoderma. Mean the farmer can multiply, can identify themselves, or pseudomonas they can multiply. The two Sikkim lady we have trained at our institute, and that lady still they are producing for themselves and for their village also. I hope in coming days or in coming years we are going to have such technologies in other states also, or in other part of the country also we are doing. So next we'll come to the use of appropriate culture practices. Sometime our date of sowing is going to be important. The sowing time is very important. Seed rate is very important. The field preparation, no doubt, is important. Just like Dr. Suganti is talking about the water management, I say not only millibug in rice, we can control BPH. If after 45 days, you make, first of all, when you prepare the main field, give a slant. So give a slight slant to our team, and we remove after 45 days. And after every 7 days, we remove it. So BPH, if there is a BPH problem, by simply doing water management, you are able to control, because BPH has a habit to reproduce only in they lay egg only in the water. So when they lay in the water, after sucking the sap, they will come to the water. And now you just simply remove the water. Say you are able to control. You need not to use so much of pesticide, because 30 to 40% pesticide we are using only into the BPH for management in the case of rice. And next is we have crop rotation is very important. I find in Karnataka, when I start working, the people are going rice, 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 and there are a lot of pests we are finding in that. So, and in Tripura also, I find in the whole Tripura, Boro rice in the main rice, and the other rice means 60 days rice means, like that they have problems. So by we break down with the brinjal, so that the Graminy and non-Graminous, which is simply we give a crop rotation, we're able to do it. Intercropping, she had explained much of things. I need not too much to talk about. Sowing of border rows because of to attract natural enemies. So that natural enemies, they are able to kill our pests, and they were able to manage that one. Next is come to regulatory. Quarantine is very, very important. Sometimes the simply quarantine control our pests, just like Globodora rostocaensis, the potato cyst nematode, we have only Nilgiris. But just last year, I find out there was a breakdown of quarantine, and these pests have traveled from Nilgiri to Shimla and to the Himachal Pradesh also. So seed certification is very, very important. We we have, if we able to, just like certain soil-borne diseases can as well as the seed diseases, those are there. They can simply uh, by seed certification they can manage. So pest of, so I will come to that habitat management. Dr. Mittal in the beginning told that we have started, no doubt. We started when we got a rice team award. Dr. Mittal remember, Dr. Garg and myself and Dr. Tanwar, we had done what? We took a straw bundle, and that is in the near your Meerut only, that in Gautam Budh Nagar, we had did it that we took a straw bundle, and straw bundle is thrown at different places of rice field, and the spider had multiplied. And when the spider had multiplied, we are able to manage our stem borer or other pests of the crop. So that is our important thing, is that by habitat management, we multiply the habitat. And now the problem comes to here, observation tools, survey. Nowadays we have developed ICT based surveys we are doing, and nowadays we are also developing hyper spectral signature through remote sensing. I hope we have got a good success, and in coming days we are going to utilize it. No doubt we are using pheromone traps that Terry had already explained. With different pheromone traps, we are using yellow traps, wide area approach. To wider area we can have easily, this can be crop monitoring. I recommend the farmer, I say, do the cropping as a businessman, not as a farmer. Businessmen never do this. So they do one or other thing, but they will succeed. So simply by so if the crop monitoring is done regularly, so then, and a proper avenue is given, so then we are able to manage our pests very easily. So decision making tools we have nowadays we have developed already, Dr. Mr. Where we are NCIPM have developed already more than 50 forewarning and expert systems, and GIS we are using for hotspots. So that is very, very important to us, decision making tools also. Now interventions, I don't explain much of things she had already done. She done many of things here, and now now what I want to tell you here, what is the difference? Now I am coming to that. Herbal pesticide up to is fine. This is up to our for this is I take this is for good for our IPM as well as organic farming. But now problem comes when we say in our IPM need based spray of the less hazardous chemical pesticide. So now there will be a problem, because once you give a Saridon Goli to a person that and it removes the pain, he is a usual habit to take quickly. So he wanted to get relief. So likewise that we find out that here if you recommend sometime even in the IPM, some farmers the chemicals they start utilizing it, and they utilize to a larger extent. And we find in rice and cotton this is going up and down. Here nowadays are almost equal. We have a copy. This is a little old slide. We have almost equal. Earlier the cotton was rice, then now rice and cotton. They're the same. Though you are surprised, in India in 2018 also we are using less amount of the per unit kg per hectare. We are using much less amount of pesticide in compared to USA, Japan, Taiwan. They are using too much high pesticide, but we are using less. But this will be a, so what is the problem we have here? Why I'm propagating organic farming in IPM taxes in organic farming because of all these, because this all develop the resistance, pest resurgence, adverse impact on biodiversity and environment, and adverse impact of health. We find out in our UP Sitapur that while working in tomato IPM, the farmers are losing their what you can say because of the excessive use of pesticides. Sometimes they lose their memory power. So this is a well fact. With the help of a doctor, we are able to done it. And if you see the problem resistance of pesticide, herbicide, fungicide, insecticide, everything you can find. This is updated. I did update it. This is initially given by the Pendental, but now it is updated that I'm showing to you. This much species will be have there. Now I'm coming to little. I hope you know this one very much. This is to simply to show to our per person those are working in IPM and they wanted to tell to this the farmer that how it is not a much a difference in IPM and our organic farming, that only you are doing excluding the avoiding or excluding the synthetic fertilizer and herbicide pesticides. And organic farming you will also have a two facts: fertilizer management and the pest management. We are doing pest management, and but now we have started also working on the fertilizer management. So if what I did, it's little a farmer, poor farmer, is now, when I say ESA based of my IPM, he must know what is the climate change going to impact on the pest, and the pest identification monitoring he has to do himself. And then before he take a decision, he must know what are the natural enemies available with him. What are plant protection strategies is to be used. What is the pest physiology? What all about the crop he must know before he take a pest decision. Your farmer has to be a scientist if you want to get a success in either organic farming and IPM, because every time you are not with the farmer has to take them. So what you have to do, what I did in Tinsukia, I had developed the pest calendar. Likewise, I developed the rice pest calendar for UP. Likewise, that in Tinsukia, I developed the pest calendar. So now you know in which month which pest will be appearing, and then what are the weak point where we can have to. We will be ready. We will be ready for our forewarning system that this pest will come, and that we have to what precaution we have to take off. And now these strategies underlying. First of all, you identify the hotspots, as I did in nematodes. In the whole India country, I can tell you 275 hotspots are for the root knot nematodes, and especially for the Meladygeny graminicola, where we have large damage due to that one here have. And now what will be use of hotspots? You are making the crop unable to don't allow. This is for the policymaker also, that don't give the crop here without any precaution, or you can say alert system. We don't give the crop to multiply here or to crop to grow here, because by doing this, knowing the hotspots, you're making the crop unable to the pest space and time. This is help in site selection, crop isolation, date of sowing, everything. What I tell you here, when we did in our institute, that we simply in mustard, what we did, if you community approach, first of all, I don't know about the organic farming how we are doing, because I took a very small area in organic farming, except in Sikkim. We have to go for the, you can say, community approach. Our IPM should be community approach. It is not that in a village 10 farmer take and 90 will not take, or 90 will take, 10 will not take. We have to take 100. That is very, very important. Almost 100. If we're not 100, then we say at least 95 will take this one. And that will be possible that simply by site selection and date of sowing. Mustard, if you have 15 October, 25 October, if you grow your community approach, you have nothing to use. No pesticide is needed. Nothing much of things. This is already we have proven in for 7-8 years. And
Dr. Sehgal, please try to conclude.
Okay, sir. Fine. I have only 4-5 slides.
Okay.
So I'll just go quickly through. We have to make the crop unacceptable to the pest. Intercropping, that's already she had explained. Enhancing the natural enemies, I already told you that. For the straw bundle, we are going for the quickly. We are going for the spider multiplication, and then growing resistant variety, seeing the soil quality, soil fertility. This is alternating society doing this. Now I've come to quickly. These are the guidelines to for. I just take 4-5 minutes. So that guidelines for effective implementation of IPM organic farming at a village level. Understand the crop biology, governing so crop sanitation, diversification, identification of the key pest, biological control agent. We must know what is how they are multiplying, how they act. That is very important to us. And then for making the surveillance and monitoring system is very, very important to us. And to conserve and augmentation, habitat management is going to be play a very important role. Now, this is main obstacles is that lower awareness. People are not much aware. And as in the first speaker told, we are not getting money. We are not guarantee for the good money. Though I had developed 2 EPFO in our Sitapur, which give a good, which they sell the product in a little higher rate than in a normal rate when you grow in IPM. In organic farming, we have to make them aware. Inadequate interaction between the research and extension activities. Properly timely supply of the quality inputs, that's not much of possible. We have complexity of the IPM versus the complexity of publicity. Chemical pesticide easy, but the IPM and organic farming are difficult. And the influence of chemical industry and this non-availability of the location-specific modules as many as for many crops. We're not aware. What we have to do, we have to develop the Aisha should develop the SAU and KVKs, NGOs, and the industry and the DAC. Finally, we have to, and the farmer, we have to develop the, if you want organic government to be there. I just tell you quickly here, that is, this is IPM, I did it, all this is, we have done it now. But we have worked with the public sector also. And this is our target. I tell you here, this is our target. In 2025, this is what 2001, we had 490 hectare. In 2020, we have a 118,000 hectare we have covered under IPM. And this is our target to be in 2025. And this is a roadmap. This is a roadmap we have. IPM research with the organic farming we have to do. We have to train and education the people very properly. Provision of IPM. I'm talking about this is the IPM input to be given. IPM popularization there. So it is a major consequent IPM movement is that multidisciplinary approach, multi-stakeholder partnership with NCIPM, like all other institutes, starting and ending with the EPFO, we have to do. So like this is our roadmap. If we continue with this will be the. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sehgal, for excellent presentation. I'm very happy to know that by 2025 you have a quite ambitious target for this IPM implementation. Of course, that's very much required because nowadays Prakritik Kheti or organic farming is quite well spreading in the country. So your role will be too big in managing the pest, this pest in both open cultivation as well as protected cultivation. So with this, I think Dr. Chandrabanu, do we have time for any question at this stage or should we close now?
Sir, if you permit, Dr. Yam Suganthi.
I see, yeah. She's back, yeah. That's good. That's good. So let us listen to her in just 2-3 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
And conclude. Yeah.
Sir, Chairman, sir, my request is the session needs to be concluded at 3:25 because it is going live stream. They have created the time slot up to 3:25. Next session will start at 3:30. Okay,
sir. Very good. Very good. So we will do it. So let us invite Dr. Suganthi again.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Sorry for the interruption. I'll continue from what I have left. So this bioactive component, 3G extract, bioactive components present in 3G extract are this tetradecane. It is responsible for the antioxidant property of this particular thing. And apart from that, it has tetracosin also, which is having antifungal property. That is the reason this 3G is becoming more popular among our farmers. And regarding Jeevamrit, Now, this when we characterize this Jivamid, it has antifungal, secondary metabolite, herbicidal property, fungistatic property, antibacterial, pesticidal, as well as some insect repellent properties also. That is the main reason that this Jivamid is being applied as through irrigation water, and it is having, apart from plant growth promoting factors, it is having multi factors like against fungus, weeds, as well as against insects also. And regarding this Albizia amara buttermilk solution is a very good mixture. It is being followed for the management of viral plant diseases. Then we were quite interested to characterize this solution. And we found that it has a compound called glycyl histidyl lysine acetate as well as carotene tetrahydrodimethoxy. These two compounds are responsible for antiviral property of this Albizia amara buttermilk solution, because viral disease management is a challenging task in organic farming. And apart from that, we have 5-leaf extract, then Agniastra, Nemastra, Brahmastra. These are all some of the biopesticides available for commercial usage by these organic farmers. And we characterized for the nutrient quality of these biopesticides. And last year, we have carried out one trial in rice ecosystem, and we found that this plots treated with 3G extract as well as herbal 5-leaf extract, it has produced maximum grain yield as well as this straw yield. When all other methods, what I have discussed till now, when other earlier methods fail, then as a last resort, when there is no other go, then the farmers can be recommended to go for green label commercial pesticides that are being recommended for organic farming. That includes spinosad and ivermectin. Spinosad is effective against caterpillars, leaf miners, thrips, and leaf feeding beetles. And under our ivermectins, we have two chemicals, namely abamectin and emamectin benzoate. It's a very good acaricide, and emamectin benzoate is effective against lepidopteran pests. And this is our experimental plot. That is organic pest management field that we are maintaining under network project on organic farming. Here, if you see at the border, we have lab followed by cowpea to conserve the natural enemies. And always we have this coriander in the border, because the beta caryophyllene that is emanated from this coriander will attract, not only attracts the bees that are important for pollination, apart from that, it has attracted a huge number of natural enemies. Okay, and regarding tomato, and in chili also we have different systems. And regarding cultural practices in disease management, we have clean seeds, damage-free seeds, field sanitation, eradication of alternate hosts, choice of geographic area, crop rotation, and mixed cropping, selection of fields, spacing, flooding, and early deep ploughing, roguing are some of the cultural practices that are being followed for disease management. Under physical methods, we have soil solarization, burning of trashes, and soil mulching to repel away the vectors are some of the physical methods. And the same botanicals what we have recommended for insect pest management can also be recommended for disease management. And the important biological control agents under disease management are Trichoderma viride and Bacillus subtilis. Both can be used as seed treatment and soil application. And Bacillus subtilis can be given as foliar application also. The last one is the nematode, where we have 90% of the nematodes in the soil. And as discussed by our previous speaker, these nematodes, they cause damage both to the root system as well as in the above ground parts by such type of yellowing in the field, and you can find such type of knots in the roots also. So for the management of nematodes, we can go for summer ploughing, soil solarization, intercropping with Tagidus. That Tagidus root extract is very effective in the management of nematodes, because the root exudates of Tagidus kills the nematodes. And row or spot application of neem cake and nursery bed treatment with neem seed kernel extract. And as a last, the very good important point in nematode management is use of this fungi, Phacillomyces lilicinus, as a bionematicide. It can be used for seed treatment, seedling treatment, as well as for soil application. So there should be balance of nature. So under the organic farming, there should, since we are not using any chemical pesticides, the balance between this natural enemies and harmful insects is being balanced. So thank you very much for providing me an opportunity to present before this forum. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sukanti, for excellent presentation. In fact, your slides are very good, exceptionally good.
Thank you.
And we would have missed them if we were not connected again. So thank you very much for joining us again.
Thank you.
So now I will pass the mic to my co-chairman, Dr. B.S. Negi, before we say thank you to the organizers for concluding this session. But Dr. Negi, would you like to say something?
Sir, actually, you have nicely briefed all the three presentations. So I think we are also short of time. So I thanks all three presenters for their nice presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and I thank the conveners, Dr. Chandrabanu, Dr. Raghuveer Singh, and the portiers, Dr. Amit Kumar and Jairam Chaudhary, also for assisting us. I think they would have noted down the recommendations of these sessions, and we will appreciate, in fact, to have the PowerPoint presentation sent to us, so we can in future correspond with all the three speakers and find out the details so that we can implement their program in my university or your institutions. So very much for joining us, and now we conclude the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman sir, Co-Chairman sir, eminent speakers. And I request Dr. Raghuveer Singh to quickly present the vote of thanks. Dr. Raghuveer ji.
Good afternoon to all of you. It is my privilege to deliver vote of thanks on the behalf of organizer and my institute. I wish to express our sincere gratitude to Dr. R.K. Mittal, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel University of Agriculture and Technology, Meerut, for accepting our invitation and chair the session, and his presence as a keen observer and as a mentor added strength, and his in-depth remarks is valuable for B.S. Negi, advisor, Organic Apida, for sparing his valuable time and co-chair the session, and his vast experience in agriculture field will help us to proceed in the right direction in future. And I would like to thank all three speakers, Professor Ulrich, Madam Sugandhi, and Dr. Mukesh Sehgal for their dedicated effort and nicely covering each and every points that how we can protect our crops from pest pathogen without looking towards chemical, and also avoid the objectionable inputs. And I also thank to all the people attend this session. And at the last, I also very grateful to our institute director, Dr. A.S. Pawar, to giving us this opportunity. Thanks, sir.
Thank you all. Now I hand over this session to organizers for starting next section. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.